everybody. Welcome back to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I am joined by the awesome Amanda Gravitis. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Sarah. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. So, Amanda's on the show today because she is CEO of Smart Salem, which is a government-accredited wellbeing and prevention healthcare center. Please tell me your story, Amanda, and what got you into the healthcare sector.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So my background actually isn't traditionally in healthcare, but I was given the amazing opportunity to join Smart Salem in 2022. Most people probably know Smart Salem as Dubai's premium visa medical testing centers. My role initially, I joined them as COO, was basically to expand the centers across Dubai. But rather than simply focusing on the visa administrative testing, we've actually been able to transform our centers into specialized health and wellness screening centers and to really start pioneering in the space when it comes to preventative screening. And I think preventative screening is so important because it allows people to make a lot more informed choices about their health and lifestyles a lot earlier. By understanding the current state of their health and well-being, any conditions, any predispositions that they have, ultimately leading to sort of a happier and a much healthier society. Reducing stress, reducing the amount that people spend on sort of treatments, preventing illness, even enhancing performance, to be honest. It basically allows people to live a better quality of life for longer, which is actually really related to a bit of a hot topic at the moment. A lot of people are talking about, which is longevity. And I sort of like in the space of preventative health to use a bit of a car analogy, which is explaining the difference between sort of two types of people when it comes to servicing your car. So the first type of people are those who, no matter what, when the car reaches a certain mileage, they take it for a service, they get it checked, they change the oil, check the brakes. They really make sure that the car is in the most optimal, efficient running condition, and they pick up on anything that's about to go wrong before it goes wrong, and they fix it. And then you have the second type of people, and they're the people who, whether or not it's because they're trying to save money or because they can't be bothered or they don't have time, they only take the car in for a service once it breaks down. And ultimately, they end up spending a lot more money. It's a lot more stress, inconvenience. And it's actually something that I've personally experienced, which has had a really significant impact on both my professional and my personal life. That might be a story I'll share a little bit with you later. But basically, what we're trying to do at Smart Salem is to make preventative health and wellness screening really accessible for people like you and I, which is why we're now offering a huge range of services. And I think some of the ones which a lot of people don't really understand or talk about in terms of the importance, specifically gut microbiome testing and also some DNA testing.
That is very cool. I never knew I had so much in common with a car, I'll tell you that. But it is very interesting the way you put that, because it's so true. We truly do. I mean, not all of us, but some of us really do neglect our health. And the number one thing that I'm picking up from what you're saying is how prevention is the first step. We don't have to go through the illness to resolve it. If anything, if we look at it from prevention at source or preventing it before anything major happens, then that in itself, as you said, does enhance your health. And I love the fact that you offer a wide variety of services. It's not focused on just one thing. It's really cool that you took on the challenge of expanding the services that was originally offered before you got there. I'd love to hear kind of more about your story. And you mentioned that there was something personal that happened to you, especially in the gut section, I think.
Yeah, sure. So let me first start by maybe giving a bit of a summary about gut health, because I think it's an area which people don't really understand. They don't really talk about it, but gut health plays such a significant role in our overall health. A lot of people don't know, but actually 70% of your immune system lives inside your gut. And by improving your gut health, you can not only improve your immunity, you can improve your brain function, your nervous system, your kidney, your liver function, even your skin, your hair, and sort of appearance can be impacted. So that's why people always say, you are what you eat, and everything comes from inside out. A lot of people also actually refer to the gut as the second brain, and there's a two-way communication that goes between the gut and the brain, and that's why you get butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous. And even when you start thinking about certain foods, your gut already starts activating, even just sort of by that, which I think is really amazing. We actually also did a survey recently and found that 2/3 of people suffer from gut-related issues. So this could be things like bloating, constipation, IBS, even just heartburn. And so I'm really excited that we're able to sort of offer a gut microbiome testing. So what gut microbiome testing is the gut microbiome is basically the trillions of microorganisms and bacteria and viruses, good and bad, which live inside of your gut. And you can basically think about them as the things, when you eat food, what they do is they take the food, they take the nutrients out of the food and they turn it into a state that your body can absorb and that your body can use. And so by having a really diverse microbiome, you can help with digestion, absorption of nutrients, weight management, and fighting harmful bacteria. As we said, it's very linked to immunity. So now with that context, I'll share with you my personal story, which is at the beginning of this year, I actually felt incredibly burnt out. It was severely impacting my productivity at work, my personal, professional life. I tried to sort of fix it myself, by letting my body rest. So I stopped going to the gym. I stopped going out as much. I tried to eat more red meat in case it was low iron. And then I did some comprehensive blood tests, and they came back and said everything is fine except one thing, which was B9, which is your folate, and it was incredibly low. I should have picked it up earlier if I'd have done earlier testing, but nonetheless, I took some really cheap supplements, and 2 months later, my entire life was back to normal. I was feeling amazing again. I was productive at work. I wasn't stressed anymore. I was active again. I was going out again, and everything was great. But here's where it gets really interesting, which was when I did the gut microbiome testing. So when I tested my gut microbiome, everything was great, although it showed that my microbiome was not able to actually take the foods that contained B9 and turn it into the state that my body needed. So if I'd have only done blood testing, the advice traditionally would have been for me to take supplements, but also to increase the B9 rich foods within my diet. Now that I have the information also on my gut microbiome, my personalized new advice is completely different, because no matter how much B9 rich food I eat, my microbiome actually can't process it for my body to use. So what my plan now is, and the advice that I've been given, is a much different plan based on increasing the overall diversity of my gut health and my gut microbiome. And by doing that, then I will build the capability to be able to process B9. So that's sort of my personal story there, which I think is really interesting. And if you want to even link it with some of the other preventative screening that we're doing in the DNA space as well, we have some smart DNA packages. And the test that I've done there actually shows that, unfortunately for me, I have a high predisposition for diabetes, for example, which at my age and lifestyle is quite scary, to be honest. But because we have very comprehensive testing, my blood panels actually show that I'm not currently in any way needing to sort of worry at the moment about waking up tomorrow and having to, to manage a chronic condition of diabetes. However, for me overall, knowing this about myself based on my genes enables me to change my lifestyle choices and to be much more aware of them moving forward.
Wow, thank you for being so candid about such a personal story. Thank you for sharing something that not everybody would be willing to share, but also carries an important message with it of not only is preventative care really like the number one step towards cure, but also that we are all human and our bodies go through these different processes, and there are things you may not know about your own body. And it is important to do the more comprehensive screening, not just a standard blood test, but to go to a place like Smart Salem and figure out the full blood panel, the full screening, the full kind of treatment that you need. And honestly, I got bad bloating too. I get bad gas as well, and I'm open to saying that on the show. So thank you for sharing that story. Now, as kind of a chief in your company, as somebody that is bringing something really cool to the healthcare sector in general, what would you say has kind of been your biggest challenge?
I think that there have been two big challenges for me and for Smart Salem. One of them is about the brand awareness that we're no longer just a visa medical test center, So you don't have to be due for your visa medical to come to us anymore. And educating everyone about all of our new services, because we have launched so many new services, in itself has been a challenge. The second biggest challenge that I would say, especially sort of as a new CEO in the company, is the rate at which we've scaled. So we basically went from 1 to 3 centers in 6 months. When I joined, we had 20 employees. We now have over 100. This year alone, we've launched over 20 new services. And so how you build an amazing, resilient team who are all on the same page about where it is that you're trying to go, what you're trying to achieve, having a team that are really passionate is the only way to sort of maintain even the consistency across services, across centers, to the very high quality standards, which is what we stand for at Smart Salem.
I love it. I love the fact that you're a people first leader. I love the fact that you think about having the strongest team. I mean, obviously, like you are, a business, but it's important to put the people first, whether that's the customers or your own people, your own team. So that just shows kind of what a compassionate leader that you are. And it is inspiring to hear you speak in that way. And of course, congratulations on all the accomplishments you've done in like the last year. Like that's crazy, but kudos. And having gone through such experiences in such a short period of time and also such life-changing kind of milestones, what word of advice would you have for people that are listening into this, from either a healthcare perspective or like, rising, female entrepreneurs? What word of advice do you want to leave with the listeners today?
So in general, for everyone, even if basically don't put off testing, go and do your checkups, do your preventative screening now. I didn't do mine because even though it was covered by my insurance, I didn't have time, couldn't be bothered. And personally, I'm quite scared of needles. So I put it off. So my first and most important piece of advice is do not put it off, and stop trying to just treat a symptom. By doing these tests, you'll actually understand the root cause and be able to stop wasting money basically and time on ineffective treatments. So that's for people in general from the healthcare space. In terms of female entrepreneurs and female leaders, I think that it's a little bit cliche, but believe in yourself. Not everything is going to be perfect, and you need to be able to take risks and finding the balance between being very detail oriented and across everything and having everything be absolutely perfect so that we're confident in it, versus taking the risks to be able to move quickly and then to adapt and make changes. There's a really challenging balance to find when you are a female leader and a female entrepreneur.
Thank you for being so candid and just speaking from the heart. Like it is so nice to have somebody as a role model, as you, speaking so openly and honestly about your experience and not being afraid to share like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm grateful that you joined the show today and shared such an important message, not only about your health in general, but about just being able to take that risk to achieve your ambitions in life.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.